Today I'm going to be making stuffed pasta shells. To start, I'm going to cook 1 pound of lean ground beef. I'm actually using an 85-15 meat to fat ratio. And you can season and spice this any way you like. Use fresh ingredients like fresh garlic and onion. Today I'm going to be using dried herbs and spices. So here I'm starting with a teaspoon of an onion salt blend. I'm also going to add a half teaspoon to a full teaspoon of garlic powder and a teaspoon of dried Italian seasonings, a pinch of salt, some cracked black pepper, and I'm going to cook this. Now that my ground beef is cooked, I removed it from the pan and I am going to allow it to set and cool until I'm ready to use it. In the meantime, I'm going to boil my jumbo pasta shells. Here I have water. Once it comes up to a rolling boil, I'm going to add a hefty pinch of salt, somewhere between a half tablespoon to a tablespoon of salt. Now I'm going to add 25 to 30 uncooked jumbo pasta shells. I'm only going to be using around 20 of these, but you want to cook extra just in case some of them break apart. So once my pasta is into the boiling water, I'm going to give it a stir, and I'm going to cook them halfway, so about 7 to 7.5 minutes of boil time only. You don't want to cook these all the way through. I've removed them from my pasta water and I'm going to lay them in a single layer to cool and set on a greased, oiled baking sheet. And you want to separate them. You don't want them to stick together. And I'm going to let these cool for about 10 to 15 minutes just so they're cool enough to handle. Now I'm going to work on my filling for these shells. Here I have a 15-ounce container of ricotta cheese. I'm going to add that to my bowl. I'm also going to be adding cracked black pepper. You can season this how you like, and the ratios are up to you. I'm going to probably add somewhere between a quarter teaspoon to a half teaspoon of cracked black pepper, a teaspoon of that onion salt blend, a teaspoon and a half of my dried Italian herb blend. I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of chopped fresh parsley. You could use dried parsley if you like, maybe a tablespoon of dried. I'm also going to grate around 1.5 ounce to 2 ounces of Parmesan cheese. I'm adding 1 large egg. I'm also going to add a half cup to 3/4 of a cup of shredded mozzarella cheese. In all, for this entire recipe, it's 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. I've added a pinch of salt, some more cracked black pepper, and I'm going to give that a mix. Now I'm going to add around 3/4 of the cooked ground beef into the cheese filling. This is going to complete the filling for this. So once I combine well, this is ready to stuff the pasta shells. I'm going to be using a store-bought jar of pasta sauce or marinara sauce, and I'm going to add 3/4 of a cup to the bottom of a 9x13 baking dish. And once I spread that on the bottom, I'm just going to start stuffing these shells and placing them in the baking dish. Now, if you play your cards right and you don't overstuff them, you can get 20 of these stuffed pasta shells. But I'll be honest, sometimes I overstuff them and I only get 16. So if you add around 2 tablespoons, 2.5 tablespoons of filling, you should be able to get the 20 shells. So the remainder of the ground beef, I'm going to sprinkle that on top. And then I'm going to add the rest of that pasta sauce and just cover all of my stuffed pasta shells. And the remainder of the cheese, I'm going to sprinkle it on top. I'm going to cover this with aluminum foil and bake covered for 20 minutes in a preheated oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Then Once it's in the oven after 20 minutes covered, I'm going to remove the foil and allow it to continue cooking until it's browned and bubbly on top for another 15 to 20 minutes. And then you'll want to let it set for about 10 minutes to absorb any of that moisture that collected in the pasta sauce. I'm going to garnish with fresh parsley and serve. I hope you give this recipe a try. I hope you like it, and thanks for watching.